누가 사회하나?
네.
Is someone moderating today? Good afternoon. Let us now begin the joint press availability of the ROK U.S. Foreign Ministers meeting, beginning with opening statements. Foreign Minister Tae-yul will speak first, to be followed by Secretary Blinken. After their opening statements, we will have a Q&A session. Now let me invite Minister Jo first.
안녕하십니까?
Good afternoon. I am Tae-yul, Foreign Minister of Korea. Let me first extend my sincere condolences to the victims and bereaved families of the tragedy in New Orleans. Korea will always stand with the people of the United States. I also express my deepest condolences on the passing of former President Carter, who was a respected elder statesman who devoted his life to democracy, human rights, and international peace, a true paragon to the entire world. I once again welcome Secretary Blinken back to Korea. Under the current government of Korea, this marks his third visit, and between us, including our official meetings and phone calls, our 14th engagement. If our brief encounters on multilateral occasions are included, the number would be even higher. Secretary Blinken's visit this time and the ROKA's foreign ministers meeting carries special significance more so than ever. Firstly, full trust in the ROKA's alliance was restored and a values-based alliance revived. Today, we reaffirmed that there's no daylight between us in the ROK-US alliance. Under the acting presidency of Choi Sang-mok, stable state governance and the solid ROKA's alliance will ensure our foreign policy directions remain unchanged. I made this clear. Secretary Blinken expressed strong support for Korea's democracy and the alliance, as well as confidence in the acting government, reaffirming his commitment to closely cooperating with the ROK government to continue strengthening the alliance. Secondly, the United States' steadfast defense commitment to the ROK and the strategic importance of Korea-US-Japan cooperation were reiterated. Secretary Blinken's choice of Korea and Japan as his first and final destinations as Secretary of State demonstrates the U.S.'s firm commitment to the ROK-US-Japan partnership. Korea and the U.S., together with Japan, have ushered in a new era of trilateral cooperation. We looked back on the outcomes of the Camp David summit, and based on its spirit and principles, high-level consultations were regularized, and in areas such as security, economic security, advanced technology, and development cooperation, sector-specific consultation bodies were launched, and we reviewed their progress. Moreover, the Trilateral Secretariat established late last year will be central to the endeavors we agreed to make towards even stronger trilateral collaboration. On the DPRK, its nuclear issue, and illegal military cooperation with Russia, we had an in-depth exchange of views. Efforts to implement UNSC sanctions against North Korea and disclose its sanctions-evading activities as a way of inducing its denuclearization are more crucial than ever. Concurring on this, we pledge to continue our collaboration in this regard. We condemned the DPRK's launch of ballistic missiles today, and through a seamless combined defense posture and strengthened extended deterrence, we pledged to prepare thoroughly for any potential North Korean provocations. Thirdly, we reviewed the achievements of the ROKA's cooperation and reaffirmed our commitment to follow-up measures. Korea and the U.S., through the Washington Declaration and the establishment of the NCG, have dramatically reinforced extended deterrence cooperation. We convened the ROKA's 2+2 Foreign and Defense Ministers meeting and agreed on its regularization and declared our agreement to extend the ROKA's Mutual Defense Treaty to space and cyberspace. Our two nations have spearheaded efforts leading to the recent establishment of a new mechanism for monitoring the implementation of UNSC sanctions on North Korea, the MSMT, which is also driving the international community's enforcement of these sanctions. We also assess the achievements of the next generation CET dialogue, as well as our AI and advanced technology cooperation, also exchanging views on the implementation of the ILA and CHIPS Act and fostering of a favorable investment environment for Korean companies in the U.S. Our two nations have worked together to attain these milestones, which represent key elements of the global comprehensive strategic alliance and stand as a testament to the ROKA's alliance elevated to its highest level. We agreed on the need to preserve these achievements and build on them for even greater outcomes going forward, committing to achieve cooperation to this end. The raucous alliance is stronger when our two nations stand together as they do now. A strong alliance will offer future generations greater opportunities and prosperity and contribute to the Korean Peninsula and Indo-Pacific region's peace, stability, and progress. As it has for the past 71 years, our companionship will endure. Thank you.
네, 감사합니다.
Thank you. Now let me invite Secretary Blinken for opening statement.
And let me begin by thanking Foreign Minister Cho, Acting President Tae for welcoming me back to Seoul, and for their partnership and leadership during a challenging time for Korea. I also greatly appreciate the opportunity to meet with Speaker Woo and members of the National Assembly later this afternoon. And let me start by saying how much I appreciate the friendship and the partnership that I've had with the Foreign Minister, with Tae-yul, a man of tremendous democratic integrity and someone I admire greatly. And on behalf of the American people, let me say how deeply saddened we are by the plane crash in Muan. Our hearts go out to the loved ones of all of the victims, the survivors, all of those touched by this tragedy. We have a team from the National Transportation Safety Board, from the Federal Aviation Administration, from Boeing, all here in Korea on the ground to support the investigation into this disaster. And I just want to reaffirm that the United States is here to help in any way that we can. As the Foreign Minister noted, this is now my fourth visit in total to Korea, my 21st visit to the region, to the Indo-Pacific, as Secretary of State. In many ways, this visit brings my tenure as Secretary full circle. Secretary Austin and I traveled here to Seoul and then to Tokyo on the very first overseas trip by any member of President Biden's cabinet. We chose to come to Korea because for 7 decades, the U.S.-ROK alliance has been the linchpin of peace, security, prosperity in Northeast Asia, the Indo-Pacific, but also increasingly around the world. On day one, President Biden told me that my number one assignment was to revitalize and to reimagine our alliances and our partnerships so that we could more effectively meet the tests of our time and more effectively deliver for our people. Over the past 4 years, that is exactly what we've done. Today, the alliance between the United States and Korea remains more essential than ever in shaping our shared future, and I believe it's also stronger than ever in taking on that task. We've enhanced, as you heard the Minister say, our extended deterrence, the United States' commitment to defend our allies with the full range of our conventional and nuclear capabilities, as well as our ability to coordinate and respond to DPRK aggression, including through the Nuclear Consultative Group. We condemn the DPRK's missile launch just today, yet another violation of multiple UN Security Council resolutions. Together with Japan and the ROK, we have forged a new era of trilateral cooperation, helping to advance a shared vision of an Indo-Pacific that's free, that's open, that's prosperous, that's secure, that's resilient, increasingly connected. I've had the privilege to help grow these relationships since my time as Deputy Secretary under President Obama and now as Secretary with President Biden's leadership. Following the historic summit that President Biden convened at Camp David, the U.S., Republic of Korea, and Japan, we're now implementing more than 36 different initiatives in the areas of security, economic relations and innovation, and people-to-people ties. Just by way of example, we're conducting a regular joint military exercise program. We're exchanging real-time data about North Korean ballistic missile launches. We're enhancing the interoperability of our armed forces. We're working to share early warning information on supply chain disruptions to make our economies even more secure and even more resilient. American, Korean, Japanese universities are collaborating increasingly with industry to train thousands of students in quantum computing, and that's going to give us a competitive edge in innovations that will shape the future. We've established a program to help our next generation of young trilateral leaders address all of these shared challenges. This expanded trilateral cooperation has been a force multiplier for the good. A more unified partnership for peace and stability from the Korean Peninsula to the Taiwan Strait, an engine of economic and technological progress, a way to bring our people, especially our young people, together, closer together than ever before. I believe it's in the strategic interest of each of our countries not just to sustain this trilateral cooperation, but to grow it in the years ahead, particularly in an era when security in the Indo-Pacific and Europe is increasingly intertwined. In the last week of December, more than 1,000 North Korean forces were killed or wounded in Kursk, casualties of Russia's effort to redraw the border of a sovereign country, Ukraine, to do it by force, and a sign of the growing threat posed by heightened cooperation between revisionist authoritarians in Moscow and in Pyongyang. Now, this is a two-way street. The DPRK is already receiving Russian military equipment and training. Now, we have reason to believe that Moscow intends to share advanced space and satellite technology with Pyongyang, and that Putin may be close to reversing a decades-long policy by Russia and accepting DPRK's nuclear weapons program. The Republic of Korea stepped up to support Ukraine as it defends itself against Russian aggression, providing essential humanitarian assistance to so many people who have been displaced by the conflict. And the United States looks forward to Korea, along with Japan, Australia, New Zealand, continuing to increase cooperation with NATO so that Atlantic and Pacific nations can stand together to defend international rules and principles, because that's fundamentally what's at stake in Ukraine. This has been an aggression, yes, against the Ukrainian people and against Ukraine itself, but also an aggression against the very principles that lie at the heart of the international system and that were agreed to by countries around the world as the best way of preserving peace, preserving stability, preserving security. These are the principles at the heart of the UN Charter: territorial integrity, sovereignty, independence. These are the principles that Russia attacked. These are the principles that we are united in defending. Together, we've also promoted a shared economic approach, whether that's the ROK hosting APEC this year, chairing the Mineral Security Partnership to enhance supply chain resilience, or investing in development initiatives from the Mekong to the Pacific Islands. The United States is now Korea's second largest investor and largest good exports market. Thanks primarily to the landmark Inflation Reduction Act, as well as the CHIPS and Science Act, the Republic of Korea has become a leading investor in the United States, committing more than $140 billion since 2021, all the way from semiconductor plants in Michigan to solar facilities in Georgia. Our nations are working together, collaborating to develop cutting-edge technologies in clean energy, in biotechnology, in space exploration. Now, we meet as both of our countries are experiencing periods of transition. And what we know is this: our relationship is bigger than any one leader, any one government, any one party. The security challenges that we face, the economic opportunities we share, all of these shared challenges and opportunities, they will continue to bring us closer together. And this relationship is grounded not just in economic or security interests, but in our shared democratic values. Over these past 4 decades, Korea has written one of the most powerful, one of the most inspiring democratic stories in the world. Korea's democracy has been tested in recent weeks, just as American democracy has faced challenges throughout our history. But you are responding by demonstrating your democratic resilience. The United States has full confidence in South Korea's institutions, and we reaffirm our unwavering support for the Korean people as they work tirelessly to uphold those institutions. We trust that the Republic of Korea, as a leading global democracy, will proceed in full accordance with its constitution and the rule of law. More than 70 years after our alliance was forged in blood, there's a reason that there's strong and broad support for the alliance that continues to endure in both of our countries. It makes our people more secure. It makes them more prosperous. It makes them more innovative. It advances the values that we share together. Ultimately, this alliance doesn't only deliver for our people, it's rooted in our people. Earlier this week, we had members of our new Congress sworn in. They included a Republican congresswoman born in Incheon, a Democratic congresswoman, the daughter of a Korean mother and a Black American service member who, when she was first elected, took the oath of office wearing a traditional Korean hanbok, and the first Korean American elected to the United States Senate. These Korean American leaders demonstrate the commitment that our people share to making real the promise of our democracies. They're a manifestation of the bonds that join our countries together. And fundamentally, it's because of people like these in both our countries that I remain fully, strongly optimistic that the United States and South Korea will continue to go together into a future of our own making. Kachi Kapshida. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.